Today, I want to share a mindset with you that has the power to completely transform your future. Let me start with a challenge. Statistically speaking, there is a very real chance that someone reading this right now will become the CEO, CTO, or founder of one of the most impactful companies in the world over the next 10 years. It sounds bold, but think about the birthday paradox. In a relatively small room, the probability that two people share the same birthday is surprisingly high. In the same way, when you gather ambitious, intelligent, driven people in one place, the probability that one of them builds something extraordinary is not small at all. You may be sitting in a very special environment, one where ideas are encouraged, where experimentation is possible, and where failure is tolerated. And that last part matters more than most people realize. If you travel to many parts of the world, you'll notice something different. Failure is often stigmatized. It's embarrassing. It's punished. But places like Silicon Valley became unique because failure is tolerated there. You can try, fall, learn, and try again. That freedom creates innovation. When I was younger, I realized something important about myself. I didn't love technology specifically. I loved doing many different things. I was the kind of person who couldn't stay in one lane. In boarding school, I was the guy hanging an antenna out of my dorm room window to run a pirate radio station. I was designing flyers for school dances. I was DJing events. I just loved building, creating, experimenting. Then, in my junior year, we were assigned a book called The New Thing, which told the story of Netscape and the early internet revolution. When I read it, something clicked. I thought, this feels like a place where I can be myself, where I can try a lot of different ideas and see what sticks. Entrepreneurship often looks chaotic from the outside. You jump from idea to idea. You experiment. You pivot. But that willingness to explore is part of the entrepreneurial DNA. At some point, I decided to teach myself Ruby on Rails. I learned about databases. I learned just enough to be dangerous. And that's one of the most important lessons in entrepreneurship. You don't have to be the best in the world at something, but you must know enough to be dangerous, enough to build a prototype, to turn an idea into something real, to show it to the world. Later, there were dozens, eventually hundreds, of people far better than me at engineering. But if I hadn't learned just enough to get started, the idea would have never existed for them to improve. You don't need perfection to begin. You need momentum. And this leads to another crucial lesson. There is no such thing as the perfect next move. Everyone feels pressure to optimize every decision. Should I work at Google or Microsoft? Should I join McKinsey or Bain? Should I go corporate or startup? People spend enormous amounts of time trying to calculate the perfect step. I once visited a Marine base and learned a phrase they live by: bias toward action. The idea is simple. In high-stakes environments, if you wait for perfect information, you lose. You can spend all your time planning the ideal move, but by the time you finish planning, the opportunity is gone. Progress comes from movement. You take action with the best information available. You adjust, you learn, you move again. When I had multiple job offers, from startups, Microsoft, Google, I chose the one with the lowest salary. Why? Because I wanted to be at Google, not because of the title, not because of the job description, but because I wanted to surround myself with exceptional people. That was a foundational lesson. Go where the great people are. Short-term trade-offs often create long-term advantages. Then 2008 happened. The financial crisis hit. The economy collapsed. At Google, I was working in corporate development, evaluating acquisitions. Suddenly, deals stopped happening. I would ask my boss, "Can we buy this company?" "No." "What about this one?" "No." At one point, he essentially told me, "There's not much to do. Maybe you should go golfing." Imagine being in your 20s, wanting to change the world, and being told to go golfing. That moment forced a decision: stay comfortable or move. I chose to move. I joined a startup called Next Stop, founded by former Googlers. It was transformational. That's where I truly learned to build products. That's where I sharpened my technical skills. Everything I learned there prepared me for what came next. Every step you take doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to position you around learning and growth. Now let's zoom out to long-term thinking. One founder once said he wanted to build a company that would last 102 years. Why 102? Because it would span 3 centuries, starting at the end of one, lasting through the next, and touching the beginning of another. It was specific. It was intentional. When everyone says, "We want to build a company that lasts 100 years, it becomes a slogan. But when you say 102 years, it becomes a commitment. The deeper lesson is this: don't obsess over short-term success. Even if you've succeeded for 10 or 20 years, the real test is whether you can sustain it for generations. Success today does not guarantee survival tomorrow. Economic cycles will come, crises will happen, reforms may cause temporary pain, but long-term foundations matter more than short-term comfort. Entrepreneurs must stay optimistic, not blindly, but strategically. When everyone else is fearful, there is often opportunity. Let me give you a thought experiment. Imagine I offer you a deal. You can choose any one of your classmates and receive 10% of their earnings for the rest of their life. You have 24 hours to decide. Who would you choose? You can't pick the one with the richest parents. It must be based on merit. Would you pick the one with the highest grades? Maybe not. You would likely pick someone with character, integrity, energy, initiative, generosity, reliability. Now flip it. Imagine you must short one classmate. You must pay 10% of their lifetime earnings. Who do you choose? It's probably not the one with the lowest GPA. It's the one lacking character. A legendary investor once said he looks for three qualities when hiring: intelligence, energy, and integrity. And if someone doesn't have integrity, the first two will destroy you. Because a smart, energetic person without integrity is dangerous in the worst way. The powerful truth is this: integrity is a choice. Character is built. You cannot change your height. You cannot change your genetics, but you can change your behavior. If you write down the qualities of the person you would want 10% of, and then ask yourself, can I develop these traits? The answer is yes. The ultimate goal is to become the person others would want to invest in. Finally, let's talk about storytelling. Money flows as a function of stories. Investors don't just fund spreadsheets, they fund narratives about the future. If you cannot clearly articulate your vision, you will struggle to attract capital, talent, or belief. But storytelling isn't just about talking, it's about asking the right questions. Great investors and great entrepreneurs both master the art of questioning. The right questions create comfort. They invite clarity. They allow someone to explain what they're building, why it matters, how long it will take, who the competitors are, and what resources are needed, without feeling attacked. Sometimes you won't fully understand the answers. That's okay. What matters is constantly refining your questions. So here's what I want you to remember. There is no perfect next move. Learn enough to be dangerous. Have a bias toward action. Surround yourself with exceptional people. Think long term, beyond immediate success. Build character intentionally. Master storytelling and questioning. Somewhere in this audience, there may be a future founder who will reshape industries. The only real question is, when your moment arrives, will you be ready?